What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Showcase Central, episode 2222. This is your host, Nate Branco here, and we got a lot to unpack this evening. Well, this afternoon, actually, this Monday afternoon. So, you know what? We're going to talk about the Marlins and their history with their franchise record that they broke. Crazy. We're going to talk about some star injuries that have happened recently. We're going to talk about a little bit of a trade that actually just happened. Not a little bit of a trade, but a trade that actually just occurred literally on Saturday night. And then we're going to talk about some Hall of Fame enshrinements that happened on Sunday. So you know what, guys? You know what to do. Let's get to it. Grab a drink, relax, just watch this video, and just chill out. All right, so let's get to it. The Marlins break a franchise record, and it is on the ugly side. It is a 12-game losing streak. Yikes. You guys remember back in June when they went 20-6 and they were on fire? Offense was clicking. Pitching was clicking. Everything was going swell for them. July hits? They literally are on the shit end of the stick. Literally this month, they have went 6-14 in 20 games so far. It's insane. Life comes at you in the face, so slaps you in the face just like that. During the skid, the Marlins have been hitting .208 with a .607 OPS. So, I'll break this down for you guys real quick. Back in June, they literally had that record that they had, and they were 3 games behind the Braves in the NL East, and they also coveted the 3rd wildcard spot in the NL. Where are they now? Now, in the NL East, they are 4th place, 10 and a half games behind, and in the NL wildcard, they are literally 3 games behind the Arizona Diamondbacks for the last wildcard spot, and they're pretty much floating around the middle of the wildcard positioning. They're not in the best positioning, but at the same time, if they get a little on a hot streak and, some NL top wildcard spot teams start deflating, they could regain some momentum, but I mean, hey, not something that you could promise on, especially from that team. But this is actually not the first time that this has happened to them. Back in 1998 and in 2011, they had separate 11-game losing streaks. But it seems like 15 years later, they said, hey, let's break the franchise record. I don't know what happened, honestly. This team was on fire, and now they are just shit in the bed. Honestly, after this trade deadline, they better step it up. They better grab some acquisitions. Another pitcher, definitely. Another bat. Literally, there was talks probably about a good month ago, how they were potentially going to be buyers at the deadline. But since this recent skid, I don't know if that's the case anymore. Honestly, their record is really not too horrible, honestly. They are, 52 in 54? I mean, that's not too bad. At least they're not like the A's and are just like 10 and a half games below 500. At that point, you should just sell. But, I mean, I feel like if they grab like either one of those of the positions, or even like a closer or something like that, they could definitely win some ball games. But if I'm the Marlins, freaking find a way to get out of this skid, because it's definitely not going to help you. The NL is absolutely stacked with talent, and just keep this going, and you're not going anywhere. Clayton McCullough, I think that's how you say his name, better snap something out of this team. Better see what's going on. These players better start performing again. The pitching staff better start killing it again. And yeah, the Marlins will actually start a 3-game home series against the Philadelphia Phillies starting tonight. Let's see if they can reverse the curse while the Phillies have Zach Wheeler on the mound. I actually had just mentioned stars. We're going to talk about some star injuries. Cody Bellinger, he just landed on a 10-day IL with a hamstring injury. This is actually the third big bat in the lineup that is gone for the Yankees. We have Aaron Judge that's going to be gone for a while, and Giancarlo Stanton that we have not seen in probably 20 years or so. That man's always on the IL. Waste of a contract for the Yankees. And Cody Bellinger just joins that list. Spencer Jones just called up from AAA. Yeah, I'm sure Spencer Jones is going to do something, taking his spot on the roster. Spencer Jones has not been all that he is for the Yankees thus far in his career. But Cody Bellinger will be missed as he's had a rejuvenated season, of course. I know his average went from 280 to 254 he's in a little bit of a skid right now himself, but hopefully when he gets back from injury, he gets back right to it. Juan Soto, he is on the 10-day IL with a calf injury. It's actually a grade 2 sprain. Interim manager Andy Green explained the injury is more severe than his right calf strain that Soto suffered back in April, which had led to him missing 3 weeks. But with this left calf strain, he could miss 4 to 6 weeks. Soto has actually been, believe it or not, probably the biggest bright spot on the Mets' horrendous season. But, I mean, they couldn't be any more awful as they already are, whether he's in the lineup or not. But the Mets, by the time Soto is back in the lineup, half his team will probably be traded. So, that's the crazy part. Alrighty. And here is probably the biggest one. I heard about this yesterday, and I was like, oh my god. Shea Langeliers, Athletics catcher, man. Torn meniscus in his right knee. He could miss remainder of the season. He actually, just with that alone, I'll say number one. That is awful. I hope he gets better, man, because he had a breakout season for a catcher, man. He actually is on the list. Well, not on the list, I'm sorry. He is actually in conversation for one of the best catchers this year. He's had a great season. He was the AL starting catcher in this All-Star game. I hope he gets better. That's just terrible news. I will say this. He's taken off the trade rumors. I will say that. Obviously, he was in a lot of conversations, whether it was with the Sox, the Yankees, all these teams were interested in him. But honestly, it seems like the A's are stuck with him for probably a good year. Maybe next deadline he gets dealt or something like that. I don't know. But hey, it is what it is. I wish him the best, honestly. Let's talk about this trade, man. I'm going to give you guys my freaking thoughts on this Red Sox Nationals trade that happened over the weekend. Oh, man. Let me tell you guys something right now. When I saw this, I was beyond shocked. I was like, whoa. Red Sox left-handed pitcher Connolly Early gets traded to the Washington Nationals for infielder Curtis Mead. Well, infielder mostly plays third base, but you guys get the gist. The Red Sox, they are 25th in runs in the Major League, 25th with runs scored this season. And Curtis Mead has actually had a breakout season. I'll give that to him. This is a guy that's kind of bounced around from this team to that team until he actually found a home with the Nationals. Well, at least we thought. It seems as if the Nationals were just like, hey, I feel like we can get something good for you. And that's what happened. So I kind of want to call this a 50-50 trade. But at the same time, the Nationals, I feel like, got something really good out of this one. Connolly Early, man, this season, he's actually been solid for the most part. 7-5 with a 3.25 ERA. For a kid, this is actually his rookie season, I believe. I remember when Connolly Early last year in the playoffs made his first career start because the Red Sox pretty much had no other pitching option in their little wild card series with the Yankees. So they pitched him. I remember I was kind of nervous. I'm like, no. And what happened to Connolly Early? He got rocked. That poor guy was pretty much in a position that he shouldn't have been. I felt bad, but it is what it is. And he actually ended up making the Sox roster as a top 5 pitcher in the rotation. You know, he was in there with Crochet, Sonny Gray, Ranger Suarez, Peyton Tolley, and, himself. The Red Sox have actually, they've dealt most of the season without Crochet. Sonny Gray's been locking it in. The Tolley's been having himself a good year. Sadly, as of right now, Connolly Early is dealing with an elbow injury, and they have actually had a little bit of resurgence from rookie Jake Bennett. And the Sox season has actually been saved by the pitching. The Sox have actually been trying to deal him since the winter. And that tells you that they were probably trying to get a star out of him. Well, a star from dealing him. I feel like, in my opinion, Connolly Early was always going to be trade bait. Like I had mentioned in my previous video, I felt like if the Red Sox were to actually trade for a guy like Shea Langeliers, that Connolly Early would have went to the Athletics. No matter who the Sox were going to get, Connolly Early would have been gone. Maybe even Jake Bennett would have been gone. Or Peyton Tolley. But the crazy thing was, I actually was digging the Sox little sprinkle of youth in the pitching rotation, as long as with a little bit of veteranship with Sonny Gray and Suarez. You had Bennett, you had Tolley, you had Early, nice little thing going on over there. But Connolly Early was just kind of the odd man out. So, and honestly, the Nationals, I can see why they traded for him, because the Nationals have actually been hurting with pitching all year. They kind of struggled. Cade Cavalli, somebody needed to help him in that rotation. Foster Griffin has actually probably been the only one. And I feel like Connolly Early easily slide. And actually, Foster Griffin, the 31-year-old, possibly could be getting traded in this deadline. I feel like Connolly Early, when he cuts back from his rehab assignment, which is going to happen August 3rd, in which the Nationals already have him going back into health and going back into his healthy ways again. Connolly Early can easily be a number 2 in the rotation, especially on a young Nats team. I could definitely see him breaking out. I don't think he was going to break out with the Red Sox but he was showing signs that he was going to be good. I hope he succeeds well in Washington. I liked him. I thought he was going to be. I always thought he was like, this kid's got something. But it is what it is. When you want someone that you want, Curtis MEAD, who's actually been having a really good year. I know his average is around like league average, which is probably like 254, 256, but with 17 homers and so. The Sox wanted a guy that could drive in runs and such. He's definitely going to sprinkle into the middle of the lineup, which, I mean, we'll see how Curtis Mead does. I'm not going to judge this guy right off the bat, but I'm glad that Conley Early is getting an opportunity elsewhere. I'm going to miss him. I feel like this is going to be a third. I feel like in between, it's either going to be a 50-50 trade that works out for both teams, or the Nationals sweep, or the Nationals fleece the Red Sox. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be either one of those two. But I mean, let's see. Mead is probably going to split some time at third base with Caleb Durbin, or he might be getting he might get shifted over to second base, because Anthony Siegler, I don't think, has been all that so far for Boston. Alrighty, let's talk about the Hall of Fame enshrinements real quick. 3 Hall of Famers have been inducted this past Sunday, and rightfully so. They deserve it. I'm going to go over their accomplishments because this is some really good stuff. When I saw this, I was like, whoa. Like Carlos Beltran, I got to see him play for a little bit when I first started watching baseball. I remember I started watching him. He was with the Cardinals, I believe. Yeah, he was with the Cardinals, and he won the World Series with them. Jeff Kent, I actually never saw. Andrew Jones, I never saw him either. But speaking of Andrew Jones, actually, we're going to go over his little accomplishments right now. Andrew Jones actually entered the Hall of Fame as an Atlanta Brave. He is the first player from Curacao to enter the Hall of Fame. He's won 10 straight Golden Gloves in center field and joined Carlos Beltran in the club of Hall of Fame center fielders. On to Carlos Beltran we go. He goes in as a New York Met. He's the 6th Puerto Rican raised player to earn a spot in the Hall of Fame. He chose to go in as a Met. Over his 20-year career, he's one of 4 players to have at least 400 home runs, 300 steals, and 3 Golden Gloves, joining Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, and Andre Dawson. And he also won the 1999 AL Rookie of the Year. And last but not least, Jeff Kent, who actually went in as a San Francisco Giant. He was the 2000 NL MVP. He hit 351 of his 377 career home runs as a second baseman, which is actually the record for a second baseman. I'm sorry. Only Cal Ripken Jr. and Nap Noji have driven in more runs as a middle infielder than Kent, who actually had 1,518 career RBIs. Shout out to those guys, man. They deserve it. They deserve the induction and all their accomplishments. Great on them. They will forever be enriched in history. That's amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Monday's episode of Showcase Central, episode 22. Give me your thoughts, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you on Friday for the Jordan episode of Showcase Central. I can't wait already. And also, I actually want to mention something about next week. Next week, David Brock will be joining me on episode 24 for the trade deadline episode. This will actually have a special start time of 8 o'clock. So this actually will be recorded and it will be on late. So we're going to give our grades on our trades. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to have him back. He's excited as well. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fun Monday.